The state of Missouri hauled in $137 million in sales tax revenue from legal marijuana sales in 2025. So our viewer Ralph wants to know, what is the state doing with all of that marijuana tax money? Paul Adler joins us now in studio. Paul?
Well, Rob, at first glance, this looked like a pretty straightforward answer. It's spelled out in Article 14 of the state constitution. The money is supposed to be divided evenly between the Missouri Veterans Commission, drug treatment programs, and the State Public Defender's Office.
I use the steak and chop seasoning.
The Rock in Joplin is a rock of the community.
We are a community center that welcomes anybody looking for help with their recovery journey.
It's a place where people can join a cooking class, take in art therapy, or go to a 12-step meeting.
Our biggest asset is our peers, our people with lived experience who walk alongside these folks.
We're told the contract with the state offers the center $300,000 each year, money that comes from the marijuana sales tax.
It means that we are here, and I am so thankful that the state of Missouri decided to put in that type of initiative for those who are suffering. It would not be here if it weren't for that initiative.
You would not be able to survive and keep doing this. That's the way it's supposed to work. But a scathing report from the Missouri State Auditor found several problems. The report shows in part approximately $89 million in marijuana tax revenues intended for the various programs are being maintained in the state treasury in a fund not accessible to these entities. In other words, millions are just sitting there doing nothing. And the amount of money on hold has only grown since the auditor issued the report. Dan Viets co-authored the law that made marijuana legal in Missouri, and he's not happy.
The legislature has simply failed to appropriate it, and that makes no sense at all. That money should be going to addiction treatment, public defenders, and veteran services, just like our Constitution says.
On top of putting it on hold, lawmakers are not transferring the money equally. The latest from the state shows the public defender system received about $12 million less than the Missouri Veterans Commission and DHSS for substance abuse programs. What's your time frame?
Not until after the session is over. We hope that the legislature will come to its senses and perhaps be embarrassed into doing what they're bound and directed to do by our state constitution. But if this session ends and they're not doing that, then litigation is definitely a possibility.
And a spokesperson for the Missouri House told us in an email, while balances have accumulated, those funds still go through the normal budget process, which weighs program needs, readiness to deploy funding, and overall fiscal priorities. He also noted that the budget is required to be passed this year under the constitutional deadline of Friday, May 8th. To answer Ralph's question, the money that can be spent is being put to good use in places like The Rock and Joplin. But the auditor says lawmakers in Jefferson City are letting millions of dollars just sit. If you have a question for Fact Finders, you can contact us on ky3.com. Rob?